Hello, my name is Joseph Gomez, and over the last several years have taken up the hobby of writing. I think that thus far I've probably written close to about 30 stories over the last 20 years or so, and recently, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've actually released thus far, as of the time of this recording, 8 stories. What I am discovering is a pretty tough thing to get into, and so far I have only sold a handful of stories. I've been releasing on Amazon Kindle, for the e-readers and things, and been kind of curious about trying my hand and doing some books on tape style kind of recordings for YouTube. This is a new channel and I have no idea what I'm doing, but maybe one of you scrolling through YouTube at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday night comes across my channel and clicks on a video or something, and next thing you know, you are listening to one of my stories. I am the author of these books, and I hope that you enjoy them. These are a real labor of love. So if you do like my content, and maybe you get sucked into a tale that I spin, if you would, please like and subscribe. And then also tick that little bell so you'll get notifications every time this failed artist happens to post a new chapter. All right. With that, and if you are curious about more of my writing, you could go to Amazon Kindle Ebook store, type in my name, Joseph Gomez, and I am the author of the Prophets Speak Words of Fire series, and also Oregon Sky, like the state of Oregon and the sky that's in the clouds above, Oregon Sky. And soon, as of the time of this recording, I just finished book 1 to another series I've been working on called Airplane Rampage. And the title to that book 1 is Vaquero. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. This is chapter 2 of Isaac in his sophomore year. It is book 1 for my Prophets Speak Words of Fire series. Again, chapter 2. I was waiting outside in front of my house, working on a smoke. There are many things on my mind. My sophomore year was right around the corner. It was hard to believe that I was actually looking forward to going back to school. So many things had happened over the last few years, and it was a time of constant change, and it was all good. My old thoughts were still playing in my head, but they were becoming less and less. The whole "you are a loser and gonna die young" thing was slowly being replaced by hope. I was newly born again, and I felt like God was filling me with positivity. I have good things for you. You have a future. I have a plan for you. Then following it up with comfort by the Holy Spirit. The old tapes cling and they die slow, but they were indeed dying. Sober life was pretty cool, and over the last 2 years my grades in school had completely turned around. I never was or really could be a straight A student, but A's and B's with the occasional C was still pretty good for me. Sam arrived at his usual time to pick me up for our Thursday night AA meeting. We liked to get there a little early so that we could help set up and be social and stuff. "Hey," I grinned. "Hey kid, how are you?" he asked me. "Good." We were off and I was talking a mile a minute. I was high on life and starting to feel super positive. Never since becoming a teen had I felt this way. Good things were finding their way in. Yeah, I can't believe it. Months ago I was so close-minded to God, and you were talking all of that higher power and God talk, and I was getting so mad at you, I chuckled. But you kept telling me that God was real. Thank you for that, by the way. I grinned at him. No problem, kid. That is what I'm here for. Helping you helps me. That is how it works. You were right all along, Sam. God is so good, and I have added church to my schedule along with my weekly meetings. You should go with me sometime. Jesus is awesome, I said, and for some reason Sam looked a little annoyed. God is good, but without the program, church would only keep me sober for about a week. I'm glad that you're excited about church, but how is your assignment going? He grinned and I cringed. Not so sure that I like this step. You know, this bookwork stuff is hard. I just like the meetings, but the 12-step book is always zapping me, man, I sighed. The fourth and fifth step is hard, but you have nothing to worry about, Isaac. You can trust me. You can do this. Okay, what is the fourth step again? I asked, though I knew I did not want to answer. I want you to look back over your life and write down all the times and experiences that people have harmed you and did you wrong. Also, look back over your life and write down all the times that you hurt others and did them wrong. Being an addict, we tend to hurt a lot of people with our disease. Once you write it all down, the fourth step will be complete. The fifth step is that you get to share your story with me, your sponsor. You want me to write a book, man. It doesn't have to be that long, Isaac. A few pages. Pray about it and write it as it comes to you, he reassured. Sam made it sound so easy, but when I thought about it, it seemed much larger than a few pages. There was a temptation in me to pour out my life story. Where was that coming from? He was wanting something way easier and way more basic. Maybe a list, and then I open up and talk about those things. I did not like this. Wow, okay, you know, a few months ago, when you brought up these next steps, I was pretty close to it, but I think that I can do it. You can, Isaac. I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you. These steps take courage, to look at the ugliness of life and to face it. Not everyone is willing. This will be great for your growth as a human being. This program works. Thanks, Sam. He looked down at the radio at the start of a song. I love Metallica, he grinned. You do? I asked him with disbelief. This was modern music, and he was old. He should have been listening to the oldies station or something. Isaac, I'm only 35. I ain't dead yet. He gave me a sideways grin and cranked up the radio, and the hard notes of Metallica filled Sam's minivan. He was rocking out hard, and I turned red. I saw us passing a carload of high school girls, and they were laughing at Sam. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Mom does this kind of stuff. You're a nerd, I laughed. Well, the first day of school was upon me, and for once, I was not nervous at all, but I was excited. I knew that life was getting good, but I had no idea that this was about to be the best year of my life, thus far. The decline would come swiftly, and I look back at this year often. It was a real sparkling gem of a year. It was a special time of youth. A grin was on my face as I looked around. I love mornings in Huntington Beach. The dew, the cool breeze, and the birds singing. The walk was peaceful, and I didn't even listen to my headphones. School didn't even start till 8:30, and I left the house at 7. Man, it was only like a 25-minute walk. I was eager to see my friends. What was wrong with me? Never had I went to school so early before. Approaching the field across the street, I smiled broadly. I wasn't the only one who was eager. Many of my friends were already there. Walking up, I immediately started making my rounds. I walked up to my friend Freddie and shook his hand. What's up, bro? Just another year at this freaking place, he smiled. It isn't so bad. You may wake up one day and miss these days. I don't know. He didn't seem so sure. Dang, that chick is hot. I stared over his shoulder, looking excited. Where? He turned around to look. I made a circle with my fingers, and when he turned back around, he looked at it. Oh, crap, you got me. Wolfie! I socked him in the arm. It was an immature game that we played. That's so messed up, using the lie of a hot girl to get me with a Wolfie. Even if there was one, it's not like you would have a shot at her, you loser, I grinned. Shoot, son, I'm a stud, Freddie grinned. We talked for a minute or two. Well, Isaac, it has been real, but I gotta go. See you around, he said, and we shook hands. Freddie walked away, and I looked around. I was in the beloved field. There were a few trees around, and right across the street was the old historic high school. This was my time. As I daydreamed, I locked eyes with Cherry, who was talking to an Asian girl, who was a junior by the name of Jackie. I approached them. "Hello, ladies. Another year, huh?" I smiled. "Hey, Isaac," Jackie greeted. "Hey." "How was your summer?" Cherry asked me. "Good. I got in a lot of surfing. How was yours?" "It was good. Hung out with the boyfriend a lot. He asked about you the other day. You know, Isaac, we used to get together a lot." She gave me kind of a hard look. "Is that girl guilt?" I laughed. "Well, if you call a friend who cares girl guilt, then—" She mumbled at the end, and I couldn't understand. "Hey, I was only joking, Cherry. I didn't mean anything by it. Just giving you a hard time. I would love to hang out with you guys. How are you two doing, by the way? You seem down." "It's nothing," she sighed. "Oh man, you said nothing. That is girl code for something," I smiled. When I did, I gave a goofy face to work my charm and to cheer her up. Cherry and I had been close at one time, and I knew the current events of her life pretty good, and she knew mine. These days, we were still friends, but not like we were. "Look, it is good seeing you, Isaac. Just going through some things right now. I'll be all right. I gotta go." I wasn't doing so well this morning. Somehow, I was chasing people off. "Hey, what? No hug? I know that you were bummed about something, and you don't want to talk to a brother, but does that mean that I don't get my hug?" I gave my pouting lip, and the girl softened. "Of course you can have a hug." She gave a saddened smile. There was something going on with her. She gripped me tightly. Was she having guy problems? Her and Chris had been going out for a year and a half now. He was around 26 years old, and her a sophomore in high school. How long does an older dude stay with a high school chick? Last time I hung out with them, I noticed that she had been kind of clinging to him, and he seemed distant. Cherry was one of the prettiest girls I ever saw, but she was in high school like me. "If you ever need to talk, I'm here," I said to her cautiously. I did not get too close to taken girls. "Okay, Isaac. You better mean it when you said that you would hang out with us soon." "I totally mean it." Cherry gave me a look like she did not believe my words before leaving a moment later. "Geez, I'm having a bad effect on people today. People all like trying to get away from me or something." "Don't mind her. She's having guy problems," Jackie answered me. "Really?" "Yeah, but it is up to her if she wants to talk to you about it." I'm careful about those things. Sherry and I were close a few years ago, but she was single. Now that she is with someone, I feel that it is appropriate to be her friend from a distance, you know? The closeness should be with her man. If I had a girl, I wouldn't want her to be too close to another guy. So I have to practice what I preach and not be a hypocrite. "I get it. You want to be a good man," Jackie smiled. "Yeah, trying. You know, I see people all the time being snakes, and then crying later when it comes back around, like they don't understand why those things would happen to them. Don't cheat, and don't hit on another man's woman. I'm careful about even getting too close, and if I'm talking to them a lot, I make sure to bring up their man a lot. I don't want the bad mojo." "Relax, Isaac. She's in love with Chris." She gives me a funny look, and I turn red. "I don't think she's going to tackle you and make her cheat." I laugh. "I know, Jackie. Only speaking in generalities. It is how I try to live, man." "Again, I get it. You want to be a good guy." "Yeah." "That's commendable. I like that," Jackie smiled. "So, how was your summer?" I asked. She suddenly looked sad with my question. "It was okay. My family is very strict, Isaac. Also, my grandma is old and she is sick. She is confined to a bed, and my parents have made it my job to take care of her." She looked down. "Oh yeah? What do you have to do? I mean, how do you have to take care of her?" "I have to feed her like 3 times a day and change her diapers mostly. It wouldn't be so bad, I guess, but she is mean. She's tried to bite me." "Oh no." "My dad gave her a bell, and I have to go to her whenever she rings it. I hate that stupid thing." "I'm so sorry, Jackie." I looked at her with compassion. "I'm not going to lie, it is tough sometimes. I feel guilty over how I feel because she is my grandma and all. But this is a full-time job. Going to school is my getaway. I was going so crazy over the summer. You don't want to hear my problems." Jackie was a good woman, so innocent. and loved her family. You could tell that she loved her grandmother. Many of the girls I know would never be forced into such a situation. She was Asian. How was the culture different? I wasn't so sure. I did respect her. She was pretty, long black hair almost down to her waist, a slender athletic build. Do you ever go out? I asked. Go out? What is that? If I had a boyfriend, she trailed off. I'm not even so sure that my parents would even let me have one, but if I did, I'd probably be allowed out maybe once a week or something. She looked sad. I'm not all that pretty, though. About the only thing that I have going for me are big boobs. She smiled and grabbed her breast and squeezed them together, and they almost pop out of her low-cut shirt. Wow, those are some nice boobs. You like them, huh? I want to play with them. I wiggled my eyebrows. Really? I think that could be arranged. She smiled. Wait, what am I doing? You made me look at your boobs. Now I'm thinking about naughty things. I laugh. Got to catch myself. Look, Jackie, you are pretty. You really think so? Yeah. Eventually the morning progressed and I had to go to class. It felt good to be back in a pair of gym shorts and doing all the familiar stretches. Summer was cool and all, and I looked forward to it, but about halfway through I was missing school. Strange, huh? This was not like me at all. The year before, I had really made some friends. Okay, class, come in close, Mr. Summers said, and we came in close. I just wanted to say that I hope that all of you had a great summer and to welcome you all back. Now, with that being said, let's address the matter at hand. Who here remembers the advice that I gave on the last day of summer, huh? He looked at all of our faces. Sheesh, Mr. Summers really did take this cross-country running stuff seriously. To keep up on her running, Coach, Jamie spoke up. That's right, to keep up on your running. I'm real curious to see who actually listened. As it so happens, I have all of your times here from your last 3 runs of last year. He looked around. Funny thing happens when you take a summer off from running. You go back to terrible times. Yeah, right. I was one of the best runners last year. So what? I took a summer off. I was running a 3.3 mile in around 20 minutes toward the end of last year. And I would do it again right off the bat. Of course. It really is good to see all of you again, and I wish all of you the best of luck on your run today. Mr. Summers stood by the starting line with a stopwatch in his hand. I laughed at his get-up. He was wearing some short shorts that they used to wear in 1985, and he had long socks pulled up to almost his knees. His polo shirt was tucked in, and he wore a whistle around his neck. He wasn't wearing his hat right either. He was an all-right old guy, though, even if he dressed himself funny. Hey, Isaac, my friend Lizzie greeted. Hey, what's up? I wanted to talk with her more, but we were about to start. We would talk more after the run. I knew that Lizzie wouldn't run with me, and she tried to once, and I almost killed the poor girl. I hadn't been paying attention and just started running at my normal pace. And about 10 minutes in, I looked over at Lizzie, and the poor girl had the look of death on her face. She was trying so hard to keep up with me. She had not taken the class as seriously as I had, and was a typical hippie slacker girl. On that day, I slowed down. Bro, you should have seen her face. Needless to say, she never asked to run with me again. True story. I understand that cross-country is not for everyone. Just give me your best. That is all I ask. We lined up, and Mr. Summers raised one hand and watched his stopwatch. A moment later, he dropped his hand and blew his whistle, and we were off and running. Being full of confidence, I started the run with the same pace that I ran it all year long during my freshman year. This wasn't rocket science. Sometime later, I crossed Pacific Coast Highway, and I stopped at the walking rail that overlooks the beach and the ocean. Taking it in for a moment, I found it strange just how hard that I was already sucking for air. Turning back toward the way I came, I started my trek back toward the high school. Within the first few strides, I clutched at my side. It was at that moment that I was struggling to run. It was normal to run through the side cramps, but these were different. They were the fierce side cramps that one gets when they are out of shape. My once ambitious pace slowed considerably. There went my 20-minute time, but I did not care. The cramp grew worse and worse, and by the time I hit the school parking lot near the end of the run, I was at the back of the pack. Runners were passing me on both sides. I felt a slap on my butt as the runner went by. "What's wrong, Isaac? I thought you were a cross-country stud," fellow classmate teased as he left me in the dust. "Yeah, enjoy it while you can, Tony. In a few weeks, you'll never keep up." I was agitated, and I wasn't looking forward to how the coach was going to look at me. I was sure he'd already noticed that I hadn't crossed the finish line. The whole "I told you so" moment was coming. About this time, I heard the hard-hitting notes of Sanitarium by Metallica playing. That was dirtbag music. The preps and the straight edge did not listen to Hessian metal. Turning my head, I saw that the music was coming from a pickup, and from here, I saw that there was a dirtbag sitting in the truck. I could see his black leather jacket from here. Why was he parked in this lot and by himself? Not smart. It was asking for trouble. As I walked by, the opening to Seek and Destroy began, and I struggled to recognize the guy. He was one of us, but I did not know who it was. I considered walking up to the truck and warning him about making his dirtbag presence so known at this part of the school. We were hated. Dirtbags were considered the lowlifes. Crossing the finish line, I tried not to make eye contact with the coach. 27 minutes, Isaac. Back of the pack today. This is not like you at all. Someone did not keep up with their running over the summer. He spoke with a tinge of disappointment. Sorry, coach, I mustered. You're going to have to work hard to get back to your 20-minute mark. I suggest that you start running after school. Yes, coach. 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. You're too cocky, Isaac. Improve by 7 minutes in 2 weeks? Watch me, I smirked. I eventually made it through my first 4 classes, and I smiled at the sound of the bell. Lunchtime. Throwing on my backpack, I was one of the first kids out the door. Making my way across the campus, I pushed the button to the crosswalk. Time to hang out with my friends. Looking up, I noticed some kind of commotion going on right away. Something wasn't right. The light changed, and I jogged across the street and headed right toward the unfolding scene. There were 2 people involved, at least that is what it looked like, but others had gathered. One of them was Mark, and I was not surprised. I'd hung out with him in junior high when I lived in the Conts. We would rollerblade together. I kind of stopped hanging out with him as much when I saw his shoplifting and thieving ways. I did not want to look down on him, though. The kid had a bad home life. He didn't have a dad at home, and his own mother was brutally unkind to him. My own mother had always been so loving that I was shocked to see how she talked to him. It was as if she hated him. The other kid, well, I was pretty sure that he was the one that I saw in the parking lot earlier in the day when I was running. The one blaring heavy metal, sitting in his truck. Up close, I was certain that I had never seen him before. He was definitely a dirtbag, though. He was wearing a biker leather jacket, combat boots, and a Slayer band t-shirt. There were many dirtbags gathered around, watching and not doing anything. Many of them were afraid of Mark. We were all rough around the edges. All of us the poor and the cast-offs, the crop of zeros, grown in the land of the rich. Dirt. Many had a good heart. Most were not criminals at all, though many believed that we all were. Most of us came from broken homes and had it rough one way or the other. Are you some kind of idiot? Mark wore a menacing grin on his face. The unfamiliar kid was speechless and looked like a deer caught in headlights. I looked around, and even the girls were silent. I was immediately irritated by what I was seeing. Huh? What was that? I don't hear nothing. Mark paused, daring the kid to say something. The stranger was humiliated and had a pathetic look on his face. I was getting pretty pissed. We were all so picked on, as it was. Were we now picking on each other? So, people from Texas don't speak. Has the inbreeding really gotten that bad? Mark sneered. He flicked at the zipper on the stranger's jacket. What is this that you're wearing? You think that you're a cool guy or something, huh? Well, do you? It was a kind of leather jacket that all of us metalheads wore. The kid somehow kept his cool, would not take Mark's bait. He would not speak. Mark, growing impatient, lifted his hands and shoved the kid as hard as he could. It was all I could take, and I jumped in the middle of the two. I was disgusted with all of my friends. I was disappointed in Mark. Stop it, Mark. He's new. Leave him alone, I growled. Why are you sticking up for this guy, Isaac? Look at him. He's a pathetic loser, Mark fumed. It's cool, bro. Let's not beat him up on the first day. I say calmly, and Mark cools down. About this time, Freddie, his older brother, stepped in and started to pull him away. Isaac is right. Come on, Mark, let's go. You haven't seen the last of me, you freak, Mark said loudly as his brother pulled him away. Mark stormed off a moment later. I figured he was having it rough at home again. I turned to the new guy and smiled. Hey, my name is Isaac. I extended my hand. My name is Bob. Thanks for helping me out. I don't know what I said or did to that guy, but I'm just glad that it's over. Don't worry about Mark. He's probably having a bad day. Doesn't have the best home life. Still, it's no excuse for him to be like that. I paused. I've never seen you around before. You're new, huh? Yeah, it is my first day, and I'm off to a good start, aren't I? Nah, you're doing fine, brother. This is where you belong. Wearing that Slayer shirt and the leather jacket kind of limits where you can hang, or who you can hang with. Nah, this is exactly where you need to be. You're going to make a lot of friends. Thanks, man. I needed to hear that. It's pretty tough being the new guy.